Then you got Grease 2 over there on the right. Somebody said they didn't see the Grease 2 connection. Are you fucking... I'm walking out. Are you fucking kidding me? How could you... You know what? There was this group of people that they had this mindset that if I hate this movie, then I don't want to enjoy anything related to the movie, like with memes and funny stuff and even like comparisons. I'm going to say, no, that's bullshit. And I had somebody say, I don't see the Grease 2 connection at all. You know, and by the way, I hate this movie so much. And I'm like, one should have nothing to do with the other. There's an obvious Grease 2 connection. I mean, look, you got, first off, you got a cool rider, right? A cool rider. Come on, people. Lighten the fuck up. Here is that article I was talking about on Bloody Disgusting, how David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy came so close to hitting the right notes. So they're saying, yeah, this isn't a perfect trilogy, but they're talking about like this line right here. Yeah. With that said, give it a decade or so, and Halloween Ends will be the subject of similar reappraisal, and you'll all of a sudden see it placing high in everyone's rankings of the wider franchise. That might sound implausible right now, given the iffy aggregate scores and raging debate online, but gut reactions aren't known for standing the test of time. And the movies that they're comparing it to are like Peeping Tom, The Thing, The Shining. These are movies that when they came out, they were blasted. And this was way before social media, and they were blasted by critics. You know, The Thing and The Shining are two of the most iconic horror films ever made, and they make those top 10 lists every year. You know, but when The Thing came out, John Carpenter went into a deep depression because of The Thing. He said it was brutal, it was scathing. So, highly recommend you guys read this article. Really interesting stuff. So over on Twitter, I asked the question, what's your favorite and least favorite horror movie of the year so far? See, Texas Chainsaw Massacre for least favorite. I'm really focusing on the least favorite here, guys. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Favorite, Halloween Ends. Okay. Favorite, Terrifier 2. Least favorite, Halloween Ends. Worst, I did see a lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. For worst, I actually love that one. Okay. Least favorite, Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Okay. With Halloween Ends in second in terms of disappointment. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people that put Halloween Ends as the worst, like, that means you're saying, if you saw it, you're saying it's worse than Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Now, to be fair, I haven't seen Jeepers Creepers Reborn, but from what I've heard from people, that movie is a tragedy. But, you know, you might think Halloween Ends is a tragedy too. So, least favorite, probably Halloween Ends. Favorite, Halloween Ends. So I think that's one of my points, is that there's people that it's definitely a divisive love-hate movie. There's people that said it was their favorite. And when I, you know, because I had, let me see how many comments, because I'm not going to go down all the comments. I did a tally, like, I think after, because I posted that quite a few days ago. And I would say Halloween Ends got least favorite the most. Easily the most. And that was even surprising to me. I knew a lot of people didn't like the movie. I didn't know that many people, like, if you go by a percentage, that not only did they not like it, but they thought it was the least favorite of the year. And I think it's probably disappointment must go in there. I think a lot of those people maybe they were fans of the earlier movies in the franchise. And hey, you're right. This movie's very different than any other movie in the franchise, including Halloween 3. I just thought it was interesting, those numbers, though. I did not expect that, you know. And I kind of poked at the bear a little bit, and I did say, so those that posted Halloween Ends as their least favorite, what did you do to celebrate that you didn't see The Invitation and Jeepers Creepers Reborn? And maybe that was kind of snotty of me to say that. The Invitation, I hated that movie. And to me, it's just so formulaic, you know? And that's the thing. I don't like going to a movie, especially a vampire movie, and just being bored and annoyed out of my mind. Destiny says Spirit Halloween, the movie, was almost insufferable. I can imagine. We're not even talking about those Walmart dumpster fire movies. I think some people don't even include those in their yearly tally because they're just so bad. And maybe you take the production budget into account. Okay, my next point is history repeating itself. Halloween 3, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and I mean you could pick quite a few of these movies. Halloween 5, Halloween 6, that they do have their fans, but they're also very polarizing, and there's people that outright hate the movies. This franchise, I think, maybe more than any other franchise, and because of the choose your own adventure nature of it, you're gonna get factions, and some members of those factions, they like to stay in their particular group, and they don't like to stray outside of it. Like I'm a big fan of the Thorn trilogy. Although I can still appreciate a lot of the other movies, but there's some people, they just want that tried and true. They call it the Halloween purists. They just want the first movie. The second movie, maybe H2O, that's all they want, and then the rest of them they're just trash. They hate them. Okay. You got some that are just Rob Zombie fans. I've seen some people say Rob Zombie's. They'd prefer Rob Zombie's Halloween over the original Halloween, and that's cool. I like that. I think that's cool. That's one thing I love about this franchise is there's something for everyone. And so that's a great thing. I like that in 5 years we can look back on a movie like Halloween Ends and say, damn, they gave us something quite different there, I mean, way different. And I thinking back on it, I already loved the way they used Myers. It was just refreshing and different, Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast. Thanks, brothers. Says, I respect DGG for trying something different. I've parked it for now and will revisit it next year at some stage, hoping to appreciate it more when the dust has settled. I think others will too. And I think that's what you want to do with a franchise that you love. There's certain movies, properties that you're not going to really care about, and you're going to go about your day, and it's going to be, it's going to be fine. You're going to forget about them. When you're so passionate about Halloween or Friday the 13th or, Nightmare, any movie, you're going to probably let it settle for a bit. You're going to come back to it maybe a year down the line, and maybe something will jump out to you. Guys, that's what happened to me with Halloween 3. I hated Halloween 3 when I first watched it. Didn't even finish the movie. It took me quite a few watches. Now, I watch it every October. I love Halloween 3 to death now, I think there's some people that are going to have that reaction with Halloween Ends. I think they're going to go down their Halloween run. And think about this, guys. You're going down the run. You say, you know what? This year I'm going to watch all 13 Halloween movies. Wouldn't that be refreshing that by the time you get to the 13th movie, it's not a repeat of the first movie? It's something completely different, almost removed from the franchise. I think that would be so cool, And if you look at it on its own, maybe you find that it's actually a pretty decent movie, Sometimes you have to say Michael Myers isn't in this movie. That's what you got to say to yourself. That's not Myers. That's another character. I don't look at it that way. I think Myers is extremely important, actually, in the movie. I think this is the Myers from '78, but he's freaking 65 years old, and the beating that he took in Kills, I think in the writer's room, they were probably sitting around saying, you know what? This is still a guy in a man's body after the beating he took 4 years later, and he's been living in a freaking sewer. What's going to be the aftermath of that? Is he going to be kind of war-torn? Maybe. Let's play with that. What could come out of that? And maybe they went into it thinking, I want to introduce a new character into this. We haven't done a copycat killer. They actually wanted to do a copycat killer in H2O. So let's do that. Let's go hog wild and try something like that and play off of that idea that this is a Myers that's done physically. I kind of felt for, and it's a horrible thing to say, but I kind of felt for Myers when he pulls the douchebag into the tunnel. I forgot his name. Myers has the knife and he holds him and he says, "Show me." And that's pretty much just like Christine when he says, "Show me." And Myers like seems excited. Oh my God, this is my chance to like, and he grabs the knife and he stabs the guy. For the first time, Myers felt some real excitement, and his body was like reacting to it and everything. And then after that, they go to the doctor's house, and that freaking awesome scene, which is a really cool scene actually. And I compared this to like, movies like Logan, like The Unforgiven, where you have an elderly character who used to be like a legend, like an icon, but now let's visit them at the end of their life and see what that's like. And that's kind of the way, when I stepped back and watched it a few times and thought about it, that's the way I looked at Myers in this movie. For a moment there, you saw a bit of that greatness that he once had. And I got chill bumps during that scene, even though he's killing a guy. You gotta separate fantasy world from real world, right? But yeah. So the more I watch this movie, the more I even love Myers in it. Let's talk about the statement, you're not a true fan. You're not a true horror fan or Halloween fan. We see this statement all the time. And you know what I think that means? You're not a true fan equals you don't agree with me. That's all that means, or I don't agree with you. Some people, they take their personal opinion to heart so much that they think that is the answer, that it's almost a fact. And I've never ever said that to anybody. You're not a true fan. It's kind of insulting, I can tell you, every single one of you in my chat right now, you're horror fans. I would bet all the money on it. I love it. And I love that you all have different opinions. And I love that you all, have your favorites in the franchise. That's what you want, right? So to make a freaking statement like that is just ignorant and stupid. This guy says, anyone defending Halloween Ends literally hasn't been a fan of the franchise and just a parrot of whatever is popularized. Movie is a complete sham and should be deleted 100%. That's just really a jaded comment to state that it's impossible for you to like this movie when I think it's kind of split down the middle. I mean, it's probably one of the most polarizing movies in the franchise, so much so that there's people that say it's like in their top 5, including myself. Right now, it sits at number 4. So, but just to, I don't want to say attack, but to provoke people like that and say that you're lying about your opinion, like that couldn't be your opinion. I can't believe that this idea never dawned on me, or a lot of people apparently, because a lot of people's minds were blown by this. And I don't know if Kian came up with this himself, but if you take the titles of the Thorn trilogy, they fit perfectly with the new DGG trilogy. Okay? Because you got Return of Michael Myers, which is what Halloween 2018 is. You got The Revenge of Michael Myers, which is definitely what Kills is. Even more so than the actual movie Revenge of Michael Myers. And then you got The Curse of Michael Myers, which fits perfectly with what Ends is. And I think if you think of Ends in that way, with that title, maybe you'll even appreciate the movie even more. A little more. I don't know. And I'm going to say this throughout this stream right now, guys. Probably a few times. There's a good chance, and I can't predict the future, but there's a good chance you're going to come around to Ends if you don't like it. I really think that, And I've made some predictions that weren't that great, but just comparing it to, not just Halloween 3, but I guess other movies in the franchise, like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which everybody was throwing pitchforks at that movie when it came out. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten DMs or comments from people, because I've reviewed Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 a couple times, stating that, yes, I eventually came around to this movie, and I even am obsessed with this movie now, and I hated it at first. So I guarantee you that's what's going to happen with Ends. But right now, if there's a spectrum of love and hate, right now, the spectrum of, I guess, the hate is it's hot, white hot fire right now for some people. And I see it on, people are, and that's why I called this stream, Why Are You Angry at This Franchise? It's really, Why Are You Angry at Ends? But maybe some of you are looking at the movie to get you that angry about the movie, because I was angry at the movie the first time I watched it. At what happened at the end of the movie, I was angry. I walked out of the theater, I was pretty angry, okay? But after I kept watching it and separated it from the rest of the franchise and really started thinking about the whole franchise and each movie and how all of them are kind of different, I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I can kind of let that go now. I actually love this. So we'll get there though. Okay, we'll get there. But I just thought it was cool that you could apply those titles and they would work even better with this new trilogy.